Reparations are the responsibility of the state to repair the damage and harm done when mass human rights violations take place. Many victims want to be heard, and the government must find ways to rebuild trust so that its citizens feel safe. It must also address inequalities that were the root causes of conflict and include thousands of victims and families who were impacted by mass violations. Reparations have many forms that may overlap. However, each contributes to the building of the foundation for a holistic reparations program. Restitutions are efforts to return victims to the situation before the violations. Of course, this is an impossible task, but this may include returning land and property, returning them to their jobs, and returning their citizenship status. Compensation refers to payments to cover the losses they suffered because of a violation. This can be done in a lump sum or sometimes be paid out like a pension.
Reparation is important because not only the cash compensation will be provided, but also to restore dignity of person and to support in other matters like education, medical, or something very important to their survive.
Rehabilitation includes measures to restore the agency of a victim. So this can be in the form of medical services, legal services, prosthetics provided to victims who become disabled, and other ways to get victims to be able to determine their own future.
The women survivor, especially that kind of rape survivor, is facing trauma. And also we need a trauma healing and also counseling. But in our country, there is no government institution are working for that kind of trauma healing and counseling process.
Satisfaction means finding ways so that victims can feel satisfied, fulfilled. This can be done through an apology or any other kind of measure where victims feel that their needs are heard.
We are still hearing people who say, I want them to apologize, not only to general population as a whole, because there's including that people are not being harmed. That is not that apology that can bring satisfaction to the people. I want them, the government of Indonesia, any representative, apology for specifically for the human rights abuses that happened to us.
Justice is very important for reparation. Need to know who are perpetrators and treat victims. Helping them in terms of mental is very important for make them go ahead or have a hope in the future. Hope is very important.
Guarantees not to repeat mean that the society and the state must enact policies and practices to make sure that victims never experience the same violations again. If victims continue to feel discrimination or continue to experience violence, then there is no possibility for individual or social healing.
Indigenous peoples, as I said, are concerned because for us, reparations would mean recognition of our land rights, of our identity, and our need for the basic social services.
Reparations can be given to individuals or groups of people as a collective or a community.
The acknowledgement of victims and taking them seriously, to my mind, is the starting point for repairing a society that has been plagued with violence over many years. If you have serious respect for their human dignity, you really have to pursue reparations, both at the level of acknowledgement and at the level of tangible material support so that they can take control of their lives going forward.
Reparations about rebuilding the trust between victims, society, and the state. In Asia, there are only a few examples of reparations programs.
Instead of a truth commission, for example, what was set up was called a Presidential Commission on Good Government, which has the main task of looking for the plundered wealth of the Marcoses and the cronies. Thousands of claimants, of victims of violations of human rights during the Marcos period had filed their applications. They provide testimonies, they provide documents, so there is a truth-telling component. But the main objective of the claims board is reparation, to give victims monetary claims for different violations.
In some countries where there are no reparations programs, civil society and victims groups have taken the lead.
A minha associação chega a Itacacbit, nessa organização não governamental iranebe hareliu ba apoio vítima sira, depois de processo comissão lialos, não halo advocacia ba implementação da recomendação sira. Agbit nia kanar saída magakbit halo liliu atu ajuda fetomalo sobreviventes serneoan katak ami sai nessa ponte kami sai nessa matadala masira atu buka solução.
Centro chega e agora hari na Timor-Leste, atumos nia simo recomendação si saber para atutau mata uma vítima siranebe makulu que tem sofrimento ia período 74 a 99, balo até agora mos se dá o que atenção do Estado.
At the end of the day, no reparations program can turn back time. But victims must not be forgotten. They and their families need to be acknowledged for the unspeakable atrocities they had to endure. They must not be left on their own to suffer the consequences of conflict and war.